We walked across the same stage at Yale, but I'd paid for mine. She hadn't. Same navy gowns, same diploma cases, same parents in row 7. But behind her smile sat $150,000 in paid tuition, every semester, every textbook, every dorm fee covered. Behind mine sat $127,000 in federal loans. Dad's words still echoed, "Figure it out yourself." Then Dean Patterson announced my award, the Harding Scholarship, for students who finance their Yale education independently without parental support. The word "without" hung in the May air. 3,000 people turned toward my parents. I watched Mom's champagne glass freeze mid-sip. The Yale Daily photographer captured it all, the announcement, their faces, the moment everyone knew. Published next morning. Shared in every alumni network. Dad's law firm saw it. Mom's country club. Denial became expensive. The emails arrived at 6:47 a.m. on an April morning that would split my life into before and after. I heard Lily's scream first. My twin sister, 11 minutes older, a fact she'd weaponized our entire lives, bolted down the hallway shrieking. I got into Yale. My phone lit up seconds later. Same sender, same subject line. My hands shook as I opened it. Congratulations, Nora Chen. We are pleased to offer you admission to Yale University, class of. For exactly 43 seconds we were equals, same acceptance, same school, same future. Then our parents' bedroom door flew open. Mom grabbed Lily first, spinning her in circles while Dad pulled out his phone. "We need champagne," he announced. "This deserves champagne." I stood in my doorway, acceptance email still glowing on my screen, waiting. Dad finally looked up. "Oh, Nora, you too?" His tone was flat, perfunctory, like I'd told him I'd gotten a library card. "Yeah," I managed. "Yale, I got into Yale." Mom released Lily long enough to glance my direction. "That's wonderful, honey." Then, immediately back to Lily, "We should call Grandma, she'll be thrilled." The champagne appeared at breakfast. Moet and Shandon, $180 a bottle. I knew because I'd seen the receipt once when snooping through Dad's office. They popped it with ceremony, filling 3 flutes. Lily got the first pour, Mom got the second. Dad raised his glass to toast. "To Lily," he said, "our Yale girl." I sat there with orange juice in a chipped mug, trying to calculate whether this was actually happening. "What about Nora?" Lily asked, her voice small. For a moment I thought she'd fight for me. "She got in too." Dad set down his glass. "Nora's situation is different." "Different how?" I heard myself ask. "Lily, your mother and I have been planning for this. We opened your 529 account when you were born. We've been investing, preparing." He turned to me then, his lawyer face firmly in place. "Nora, you're resourceful. You'll figure something out." "Figure something out?" I repeated. "It's Yale. It's the same school, same tuition." Mom reached across the table, her smile tight. "Sweetheart, you understand, with Lily's needs." "Her needs?" "She's pursuing pre-med. That's expensive. Medical school after that, we have to be practical." Practical, the word hung there like a verdict. I'd heard it before, that word. When I was 10 and wanted piano lessons like Lily, they'd called it impractical. Lily got a Steinway upright, $8,000, delivered and tuned monthly. I got a Casio keyboard from Goodwill for $200 that only played half its keys. "Be practical, Nora. Lily needs this more." That afternoon, I called Yale's financial aid office. The woman on the phone had clearly had this conversation 1,000 times. "Federal loans, work study, private loans if needed. Let me send you the packet." By evening, I had a spreadsheet open. $37,500 per semester. 4 years, books, housing, fees. The number that stared back at me was $160,000. Lily found me at my desk at midnight, still running calculations. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Don't be," I kept my eyes on the screen. "They're right, you need it more." That's not true. But we both knew it was. Not because she deserved it more, because they decided she did, and in our house, their decisions were gravity. The acceptance sat on my desk for 3 days before I signed the commitment form. Lily, S went out within an hour. On day 4, Dad transferred the first payment to Lily's student account. I watched from the kitchen doorway as he showed her the confirmation screen. All taken care of, sweetheart, you just focus on studying. He didn't see me there, watching. Or maybe he did, and that was the point. I accepted my aid package that night. $27,000 in federal loans, $31,000 in private Sally Me loans, work study for $3,500 a year. The remaining $15,000 would come from summer internships. I signed my name on 17 different forms. Lily signed nothing except her course registration. We left for Yale on the same August morning, Dad's BMW packed with both our belongings. On the drive, Mom talked about Lily's dorm, her CL. Asses, her roommate. Every few minutes she'd glance back at me. You're quiet, Nora. Just thinking. About what? About how you gave her a parachute and handed me a prayer. About classes, I said. Our family operated on an economy I didn't understand until I was too deep in it to escape. Robert and Susan Chen, successful Greenwich lawyer and hospital administrator. Combined income north of $400,000 a year. 2 daughters, born 11 minutes apart, raised in a 4-bedroom colonial that always smelled like Mom's lavender diffusers and unspoken resentment. On paper, we were identical. Same DNA, same birthday, same high school, same acceptance letter. In practice, Lily was the investment, I was the expense. Freshman year started with proof. Lily's student account showed automatic deposits every semester, $37,500 like clockwork, marked tuition, Chen family. Mine showed disbursements, federal direct loan, $6,875, private loan, $14,500, work study pending. I picked up my first campus job before classes even started, shelving books at Sterling Memorial Library for $12.50 an hour. Then I added a second, catering for Yale events, $15 an hour plus tips. By October, I was a math tutor for underclassmen, $25 an hour, cash. Lily joined Kappa Kappa Gamma. Dues, $3,000 per semester, paid in full by Mom's Amex. I worked 35 hours a week on top of 18 credit hours. The favoritism wasn't new. I'd been collecting evidence since elementary school, not because I wanted to, but because my brain couldn't stop cataloging the disparity. Age 7, Lily's birthday party at the country club. 60 guests, a magician, a 3-tier cake from the French bakery. Cost, approximately $2,800. My birthday party that same year, Chuck E. Cheese with 4 friends. Cost, $180. Age 12, Lily made travel soccer. Dad bought her custom Nike cleats, paid for elite coaching, drove her to tournaments 3 states away. I made the school debate team, ranked 2nd in Connecticut by sophomore year. Dad missed every competition. Work conflict, he'd say. Age 16, prom dresses. Lily S. came from Kleinfeld in Manhattan. Yes, the one from Say Yes to the Dress. Mom made a day of it, champagne shopping, photos in every gown. $1,800 for a dress Lily wore once. My prom dress came from Macy's clearance rack. I paid for it myself with babysitting money, $89. Age 18, graduation gifts. Lily got a brand new MacBook Pro, $2,400, rose gold. I got a $100 Amazon gift card and a card that said, "So proud of you," in Mom's looping handwriting. Every time I was told the same thing, don't be sensitive, we love you both equally. Love measured in dollars has a precise exchange rate. At Yale, the gap widened into a chasm. Sophomore year, I became in raw to get free housing. Lily rushed for sorority president and won, which meant more events, more expenses, more automatic transfers from Dad's account. Junior year, I added a 4th income stream, freelance web design, nights and weekends, $40 an hour when I could find clients. Lily studied abroad in Paris for a semester. Mom and Dad visited her twice. Cost of their flights and hotels, $8,000. They never visited me once at Yale, 90 minutes from Greenwich. By senior year, I'd perfected the math of survival. Total borrowed, $127,000 in loans across 4 years. Total earned, $43,000 from jobs and internships, every dollar applied to textbooks, meal plans, the gap's financial aid didn't cover. I graduated with a 3.87 GPA in economics and computer science, dual degree, Phi Beta Kappa honors. Lily graduated with a 3.52 in psychology, no honors, no debt, and a network funded by Dad's connections and Mom's country club. Our parents came to campus twice during those 4 years, once for Lily's sorority parents' weekend, once for her senior art show. They didn't come when I made Dean's List 4 consecutive years. They didn't come when I presented my economics thesis at the Undergraduate Research Symposium. They didn't come when I won the departmental award for academic excellence. Commencement invitations went out in March of senior year. I mailed mine with a handwritten note, "Please come, it would mean everything." Lily's went out the same day. Mom called 2 weeks later. "We got your invitation, sweetheart, of course we'll be there." Relief flooded through me so hard I had to sit down. "Both of you," she continued. "We wouldn't miss watching our girls graduate." Our girls, plural, equal for once. I let myself believe it. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. on graduation day, with hope sitting heavy in my chest like a stone I'd swallowed 4 years earlier. The navy gown hung on my closet door, Yale's crest embroidered in white. Underneath it, the dress I'd bought specifically for this, emerald green, $120 from a boutique I'd passed 100 times before finally walking in. I'd wanted them to see me successful, polished, worth the investment they'd never made. My phone buzzed at 6:15 a.m. "Mom." Running a bit behind, "CEO. You there, row 7 right side, can't wait, red." Row 7, right side. I'd reserved 4 seats a month ago, confirmed them twice. I walked to the old campus ceremony site by 8:00 a.m., gown swishing around my legs, heat already climbing into the 70s. Around me, families clustered, mothers adjusting their daughters' caps, fathers taking photos, siblings holding congratulations signs. The ceremony started at 10:00 a.m. I got there at 8:45. Row 7 sat empty, right side, 4 seats with reserved CHEN family printed on cardstock. Other families filled in around me. The woman next to my reserved section asked, "Are these taken?" "Yes," I said quickly, "my family's coming." She smiled, exciting day. By 9:30, the seats were still empty. I texted Mom, "Where are you? Ceremony starts in 30 minutes. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Stuck in traffic, be there soon. At 9:50 I called, it went to voicemail. The processional music started at 10:02. We lined up alphabetically, Chen, Nora near the front. I craned my neck backward, scanning the crowd. Row 7 right side, 4 empty seats. I walked across the green anyway, my name announced, applause from strangers echoing across the quad. I looked toward those seats one more time as I accepted my diploma cover. Still empty. The ceremony lasted 90 minutes. Speeches about futures and potential and the people who got us here. Every word felt like glass in my throat. When Dean Patterson took the podium for special recognitions, I wasn't paying attention. My eyes were locked on row 7. "The Harding Independent Scholarship," Dean Patterson announced, his voice carrying across 2,000 people, "is awarded to students who financed their Yale education independently, without family financial support." This year's recipient demonstrated extraordinary resilience, working multiple jobs while maintaining academic excellence. My name echoed across the old campus. Nora Chen, dual degree in economics and computer science, Phi Beta Kappa. Nora financed 100% of her education through loans, work study, and personal employment. The word independently hung in the air, like an accusation. 2,000 people turned to look at me. Then, slowly, their gazes shifted to row 7. 4 empty seats. I heard the whispers start, a low murmur rippling through the crowd, parents pointing, students leaning toward each other. I forced myself to stand, to walk to the podium, to shake Dean Patterson's hand. The applause felt like pity. When I returned to my seat, the woman next to the reserved section looked at me differently. "Your family couldn't make it." "They're stuck in traffic," I whispered. She didn't respond, she didn't have to. Her expression said everything, "Sure they are." After the ceremony ended, I stood by those 4 empty seats while families swarmed around me, taking photos, crying, celebrating. My phone buzzed at 11:47 a.m. Mom. So sorry we missed it, honey. Something came up with Lily. Emergency dress fitting for her engagement party. The seamstress had a cancellation, and this was the only time. You understand, right? Congratulations, graduate. Red, here's a little something for lunch. Below the text, a Venmo notification, $25. $25. I stared at that number until it blurred. Then I noticed the second part of her message. A photo, Mom, Dad, and Lily at a bridal boutique, champagne flutes in hand, Lily twirling in a white dress. The timestamp, 9:23 a.m. They weren't stuck in traffic, they were never coming. I stood there, diploma in one hand, phone in the other, doing math I didn't want to do. $150,000 for Lily's 4 years. Dress fittings prioritized over my graduation. Champagne for her engagement party planning. $25 for my lunch. Then I heard it, 2 women behind me, voices low but not low enough. Isn't that the Chen girl, the one whose parents skipped graduation? I heard they paid for the sister's entire tuition, but made this one take loans. And they couldn't even show up today. I turned slowly. One of them was holding a program, my name highlighted under the Harding Scholarship description. She saw me looking, her face flushed. Congratulations, she said quietly. That award, what you did, that's incredible. I nodded, throat too tight to respond. As I walked toward the exit, I passed row 7 one last time. 4 empty seats. But something caught my eye, a program left on one of the chairs. Not mine. Someone else had been sitting there briefly, maybe waiting for the actual Chen family to arrive. I picked it up. On the back, in handwriting I didn't recognize, overheard the parents in the parking lot, she doesn't need us there. She'll be fine on her own. She always is. My hands started shaking. They'd been here, in the parking lot, close enough to attend. They'd chosen not to walk in. 3 days after graduation, I was still living in that moment, standing in front of 4 empty chairs, holding a $25 Venmo notification like it was evidence in a crime. I couldn't name yet. I'd moved back into my childhood bedroom temporarily. Lily had already left for her engagement party planning trip to Nantucket with our parents. The house felt like a museum of their absence. My phone buzzed at 11:23 p.m. on a Thursday. Credit alert, hard inquiry detected on your credit report. Capital One new account opened. I stared at the notification until the screen went dark. I hadn't applied for a credit card. I'd been meticulous about my credit since freshman year, checking it monthly, guarding my score like it was the only thing I owned that they hadn't touched. My hands fumbled opening Credit Karma. The app loaded slowly, each second stretching. Credit score, 625. I blinked, refreshed. 3 days ago, it had been 680, 55 points gone. I scrolled down to recent activity. Capital One Venture Rewards Card account opened May 18th. Hard inquiry, minus 12 points. New account, minus 15 points. High utilization, minus 28 points. May 18th, the day before graduation. I didn't apply for this card. I'd been writing my valedictorian speech that day, the one I never got to give because I wasn't valedictorian, just the girl whose parents didn't show up. I called Capital One's fraud line. Waited 18 minutes listening to hold music. Capital One Fraud Department, this is Marcus speaking. Can I have the last 4 digits of your social security number? I gave them, he typed. Ms. Chen, I see you're calling about the Venture Rewards card. What seems to be the problem? I didn't open that account. Typing sounds, a pause. The application was submitted online on May 18th at 2:47 p.m., approved same day. Current balance is $8,412.67. My stomach dropped. $8,000. What were the charges? My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. Let me pull that up. Kleinfeld Bridal in New York City, $4, $200. The Plaza Hotel, $2, $800 deposit. A photography studio in Manhattan, $1, $412, $67. The room tilted. Kleinfeld, the same boutique where Mom took Lily for her engagement dress fitting, the reason they'd missed my graduation. Ms. Chen, are you still there? What's the billing address? 47 Birchwood Lane, Greenwich, Connecticut. My parents' house, my legal residence until graduation. Who's listed as the applicant? Primary applicant, Nora Chen. Co-applicant listed as Susan Chen, mother, authorized representative. The word authorized echoed in my skull. I need you to read me the exact name on the application, I said slowly. More typing. Primary applicant name, Nora Chen. Email used, Nora M. Chen, Yale. That's my email. The one I'd used for FAFSA. The one my parents had access to because they'd helped me set up financial aid freshman year, back when I still thought help meant something good. Social Security number on file matches your verification, Marcus continued. The application included your date of birth, address, and estimated income of $35,000. $35,000. My exact earnings from last year's internships and campus jobs. They had everything, every piece of information needed to open credit in my name. Ms. Chen, do you want to dispute these charges? Yes, my voice cracked. All of them. I didn't authorize any of this. I'll start a fraud investigation. You'll need to file a police report and send us a copy. We'll freeze the account immediately and begin the dispute process. I have to warn you, if the co-applicant is a family member with access to your personal information, this is considered identity theft. That's a criminal matter. Criminal? The charges, I said. Can you tell me the dates? First charge, May 10th. Last charge, May 18th, all within 8 days. The week before graduation. While I'd been finishing finals, writing my speech, believing they'd be in row 7. They'd been charging a credit card in my name to pay for Lily's engagement party. Start the dispute, I said. I'll file the police report tomorrow. I hung up, sat in the dark of my childhood bedroom, stared at the wall where my acceptance letter to Yale still hung in a cheap frame. My phone buzzed again, another credit alert. Chase hard inquiry detected, new account opened. No. My hands were shaking as I opened the notification. Chase Sapphire Reserve, account opened May 10th. They'd opened 2 cards. I couldn't breathe. I thought about Mom's text on graduation day. Something came up with Lily, emergency dress fitting. There had been no emergency, just my credit card paying for her dress. I logged into Chase's website, created an account using my Social Security number. The account populated. $20,000 credit limit. Current balance, $12,800. I was going to be sick. I didn't sleep that night. By 6:00 a.m., I had both credit card accounts pulled up on my laptop, my Credit Karma report open on my phone, and a notepad covered in numbers that didn't make sense because they shouldn't exist. Total fraudulent debt, $21,212.67. I'd graduated 3 days ago with $127,000 in legitimate student loans. No. I had an additional $21,000 in credit card fraud. At 8:00 a.m., I called Chase. The representative's name was Jennifer. She sounded tired, like she'd been having this conversation all morning with other people whose families had robbed them. Chase Fraud Department, can I verify your account? I gave her everything. Name, Social Security number, the account number I'd found online. Ms. Chen, I see the Sapphire Reserve card was opened on May 10th. You're disputing the charges. I'm disputing the entire account. I didn't open it. Keyboard sounds. The application shows it was submitted online with your personal information. Do you know how someone would have accessed that information? My mother. The typing stopped. Your mother opened a credit card in your name. Yes. A pause. Okay, I need to walk you through the charges. This may take a few minutes. Go ahead. May 10th, Vera Wang Boutique, New York City. $5,600. Lily's engagement party dress. I'd seen photos of it on Mom's Instagram story, white silk, fitted, elegant. The caption, shopping for our special girl, 2 hearts. Our special girl, singular. May 11th, Tiffany & Co. engagement ring resizing. $890. May 13th, the Hamptons Inn room deposit for event weekend, $3,200. May 15th, Delancey Catering deposit, $3,110. Every charge was for Lily's engagement party, the party happening next weekend. The party I was technically invited to, but would rather choke than attend. Total charges, $12,800, Jennifer continued. All made within 8 days. The billing address is 47 Birchwood Lane, my parents' house. Yes, she hesitated. Ms. Chen, this is a textbook case of family fraud. I've handled dozens of these. Usually it's parents opening credit cards in their children's names for years. Sometimes the children don't find out until they try to buy a house or car. Years. How long has this account been open? I asked. Since May 10th, but let me check if there are other inquiries under your social security number. More typing. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. I'm seeing 2 hard inquiries from Chase. One on May 10th for the Sapphire Reserve. Another on April 3rd for a Freedom Unlimited card, declined due to recent inquiries. April 3rd. They tried to open a card in April. My voice pitched higher. Yes, the application was denied because you had too many recent credit checks. It looks like you de-applied for student loan refinancing that month. I'd been trying to consolidate my loans, find a lower interest rate. So they waited, I said slowly. They tried in April, got denied, and waited until May to try again. That's what it looks like. They'd planned this. This wasn't impulse. They'd attempted fraud, failed, and tried again when my credit cleared. What's the interest rate on this card? I asked. 23.99% APR. With the current balance, if minimum payments are made, the total interest over time would be approximately $8,400. I'd be paying $21,000 total for my sister's engagement party. A party celebrating a relationship. I'd met her fiancé twice. Ms. Chen, I need to ask, do you want to press charges? Because if you dispute this as fraud, we're required to report it. Your mother would be investigated for identity theft. The question sat there like a grenade. What happens if I don't dispute it? You're legally responsible for the debt. It'll continue to damage your credit. Collection calls will start if payments are missed. Your credit score will tank further. 625 now. What would it be in 6 months? 550, 500. I thought about those 4 empty seats. I thought about $150,000 for Lily, $25 for me. I thought about Mom's text, you understand, right? Start the fraud investigation, I said. I want to dispute everything. That requires a police report. You'll need to file identity theft charges. Against my mother. I understand. I'll freeze the account immediately. You'll receive a fraud affidavit in the mail. Sign it, attach the police report, and send it back within 30 days. Do you have any questions? Just one. The charges. When did my mother know graduation was happening? Jennifer paused. I'm sorry. The dates, May 10th through 18th. My graduation was May 19th. She was charging this card the entire week before, and the last charge was the day before my ceremony. I don't have that information, Ms. Chen. But I did. She'd known. She'd been shopping for Lily's party while I'd been preparing for graduation, and she'd used my stolen credit to do it. Thank you, I said. I'll file the police report today. I hung up, opened my laptop, stared at the numbers. 21,212.67 in 8 days. My parents had given Lily $150,000 over 4 years. They'd de-stolen $21,000 from me in 8 days. The math of their love was finally clear. I spent the next 6 hours reconstructing the betrayal like a crime scene investigator. My laptop open, bank statements printed, a timeline drawn on notebook paper with dates, amounts, and lies co. Lore coded in highlighter. The fraud hadn't started on May 10th. That was just when they'd gotten sloppy enough to succeed. April 3rd, first attempt. Chase Freedom Unlimited card application, denied. I'd been studying for my econometrics final that day. They tried to steal my credit while I was learning how to analyze financial markets, blind to the fraud happening in my own name. April 18th, second attempt investigation. I checked my email, the one they had access to from FAFSA, searched Capital One. There it was. An email from April 15th, buried in my promotions folder. Pre-approval offer, Capital One Venture rewards. They'd been researching which cards to apply for, shopping for my credit like it was a tool they owned. May 10th, Chase Sapphire success, $20,000 limit. First charge same day, Vera Wang Boutique. I pulled up Mom's Instagram, scrolled back to May 10th. There was the post, Lily in a white dress, Mom beaming beside her. Caption, found the dress for our girls' engagement party. Dreams do come true, 2 sparkles. The timestamp, 3:47 p.m. The chase charge, 3:52 p.m. 5 minutes after the photo. She posted about the dress, then paid for it with my stolen credit card. Then went home and liked my Instagram post about finishing finals. My hands were shaking. May 14th, I texted Mom. I scrolled through our messages. Me, only 5 days until graduation. Are you excited? Mom, of course, sweetie. Can't wait to see you walk across that stage. Read. May 14th, Plaza Hotel charge. $2,800 for Lily's engagement party venue deposit. She texted me about graduation while literally booking Lily's party with my credit card. May 18th, final Capital One charge. Photography studio, $1,412.67. May 18th, Mom's text to me 7:32 p.m., getting everything ready for tomorrow. So proud of you, Nora, you've worked so hard. I'd read that text in my apartment while pressing my graduation gown, and I'd cried because I'd thought she was finally seeing me. She'd been seeing me. She'd been seeing my credit score, my social security number, my eligibility for $20,000 limits. May 19th, graduation day, the day they didn't come. I pulled up the photo Mom had sent, her, Dad, and Lily at Kleinfeld for the emergency dress fitting. The metadata on the photo showed 9:23 a.m. My graduation ceremony started at 10:00 a.m. They'd been 37 minutes away, less than an hour's drive to New Haven. They'd chosen champagne and wedding dresses over my diploma. But that wasn't even the worst part. I opened my credit report fully, pulled the detailed history. The inquiries went back further than I'd realized. January 15th, hard inquiry from American Express. Denied insufficient credit history. February 2nd, hard inquiry from Discover. Denied too many recent applications. They'd been trying for 6 months. 6 months of attempting to steal my identity. 6 months of failures before they figured out which cards would approve me. I looked at the dates again. January 15th. I'd called Mom that day, crying because I'd just found out my summer internship offer had fallen through. She comforted me. It'll be okay, honey. You're so resilient, something better will come along. While her credit card application in my name was being processed. February 2nd, I'd had dinner with them, a rare family meal where they'd actually asked about my classes, my thesis, my plans after graduation. I felt seen for the first time in months. The Discover inquiry timestamped 3:14 p.m. I'd left their house at 4:30 p.m. They'd applied for credit in my name while I was eating their food. I grabbed my phone, called Lily. She answered on the third ring. Nora, what's wrong? Did you know? Know what? About the credit cards. Did you know Mom opened credit cards in my name to pay for your engagement party? Silence. Lily, did you know? Her voice was small. I didn't know the details. What does that mean? Mom said she was handling the party expenses. I didn't ask how. You didn't ask how she suddenly had $21,000 for your party when they've been crying poverty for years. That's not fair. You're wearing a dress I'm paying for, my voice cracked. You're having a party at a venue booked with my stolen credit, and you didn't ask questions. Nora, I didn't know it was your card. But you knew something was wrong. You knew they gave you everything and gave me nothing, and you didn't care enough to ask. I hung up. Sat there breathing hard, staring at the timeline. 6 months of fraud attempts. 8 days of successful theft. 4 years of favoritism. 22 years of being the less important twin. The math was finally complete. And I was done being the variable they could eliminate. I found Priya in our shared apartment kitchen at 9:47 p.m., making her third cup of coffee of the night. She was in law school mode, casebooks stacked on the counter, highlighters in 4 colors lined up like surgical tools. She took one look at my face and closed her textbook. What happened? I'd been holding it together for 6 hours, since the phone call with Lily, since reconstructing the timeline, since realizing my mother had been trying to steal my identity for half a year. My mom committed fraud, I said. The words felt surreal leaving my mouth. Priya set down her coffee. What? Credit card fraud, identity theft. She opened 2 cards in my name and charged over $21,000 for Lily's engagement party. Nora, sit down. I sat. Priya pulled up the chair across from me, her pre-law brain already shifting into gear. Tell me everything, from the beginning. So I did, the credit alerts. The phone calls with Capital One and Chase. The charges, Kleinfeld, Vera Wang, the plaza. The timeline showing 6 months of attempts. The Instagram posts while she was using my card. The texts about graduation while booking venues with my credit. Priya's expression darkened with each detail. She tried in January, Priya asked, 6 months ago. American Express denied her, then Discover. She kept trying until something approved. That's not impulse, Nora, that's premeditated fraud. Hearing someone else say it made it real. What do I do? My voice broke. She's my mother. She's a criminal, Priya's voice was sharp. This is felony identity theft. Connecticut Statute 53A129A, Class D felony, up to 5 years in prison. I stared at her. Prison. She forged your signature, used your social security number without permission, and opened credit in your name. That's textbook identity theft. Priya grabbed her laptop. My cousin is a fraud attorney in Hartford, Sanjay Kapoor. He specializes in family fraud cases. I can't afford a lawyer. He does pro bono work through Connecticut Legal Aid. With your income, you'd qualify. She was already typing an email. Nora, listen to me. You need to press charges. If you don't, you're legally responsible for that debt. $21,000. Plus interest. At 24% APR, that's, she calculated quickly, an additional $8,000 in interest if you make minimum payments over 5 years. You'd pay almost $30,000 total for your sister's party. $30,000. And your credit score? Priya continued. Already dropped 55 points. It'll keep falling. You won't be able to rent an apartment, lease a car, get a mortgage. Some employers check credit for hiring. This will follow you for 7 years. 7 years of paying for Lily's engagement party. 7 years of damaged credit because my mother chose theft over honesty. What if I just pay it? I whispered. What if you just let her rob you? Priya's eyes flashed. Because that's what you're saying. You're asking if you should pay $30,000 for crimes she committed. She's my mom. She's someone who stole from you. Priya reached across the table, grabbed my hands. She gave Lily $150,000. She gave you nothing. Then she stole $21,000 from you to give Lily more. When does it stop? I thought about those 4 empty chairs. It doesn't stop, I said slowly. Not unless I make it stop. Exactly. Priya squeezed my hands. You're not destroying the family, Nora. She did that when she committed a felony against her own daughter. I took a shaky breath. What's the first step? File a police report. Tomorrow, Greenwich PD, then call Sanjay. I'll text him tonight, give him a heads up. She pulled out her phone. This is happening. You're going to fight back. For the first time since that credit alert at 11:23 p.m., I felt something other than shock. I felt angry. And anger, I was learning, was so much more useful than heartbreak. Okay, I said, tomorrow, police report. Priya nodded. I'm coming with you. Sanjay Kapoor's office was in a brick building in downtown Hartford, 3rd floor, with a view of the Connecticut River and a waiting room that smelled like coffee and old legal briefs. Priya and I sat in cracked leather chairs, while a receptionist filed paperwork behind bulletproof glass. "He's good," Priya whispered. "He's gotten restitution in 17 family fraud cases, 12 criminal convictions." Convictions, the word sat heavy. A door opened. Nora Chen. Sanjay was younger than I expected, mid-30s, sharp suit, kind eyes behind wire-frame glasses. He shook my hand firmly. "Priya's told me about your situation. Let's talk." His office was small but organized. Diplomas on the wall, Yale Law, I noticed, a shelf of legal texts, a photo of him with 2 kids, maybe 6 and 8 years old. "Tell me what happened," he said, pulling out a yellow legal pad. I walked him through it, the graduation no-show, the credit alerts, the fraud timeline, the 21,212.67, the 6 months of attempts. He took notes, occasionally asking questions. "You filed a police report." "Yesterday, Greenwich PD. Case number 2020-58841, Detective Maria Torres." "Good, Torres is thorough." He flipped a page. "Let me explain your options, you have 2. Paths here, criminal and civil." He drew a line down the center of his legal pad. "Criminal route, you pursue charges through the state. Identity theft under Connecticut Statute 53A129A is a Class D felony. If convicted, your mother faces up to 5 years in prison, fines up to $5,000, probation, and a permanent criminal record." 5 years. I tried to picture my mother in prison and couldn't. "The state handles prosecution," Sanjay continued. "You don't pay legal fees for that, but you have less control over the outcome. The prosecutor decides whether to offer plea deals, what charges to pursue." "What's the other option?" "Civil lawsuit. You sue for damages, the fraudulent charges, credit damage, emotional distress, legal fees. You have more control, but you pay attorney fees unless you win and the judge awards them. Timeline's longer, usually 8 to 12 months to trial." "Can I do both?" "Yes, most of my clients do. Criminal charges for justice, civil suit for restitution." He leaned forward. "But I need you to understand what you're starting. This will fracture your family permanently. Your mother will likely never speak to you again. Extended family will take sides. Holidays, weddings, funerals, all of it becomes complicated." "My family's already fractured," I said quietly. "She stole from me. She missed my graduation to spend my money on my sister." "I know. I've handled 43 family fraud cases. I see this pattern constantly, parents who drain one child's credit to fund the golden child's lifestyle." He set down his pen. "You're not alone in this, and you're not overreacting." My throat tightened. What happens next? "Detective Torres will investigate. She'll subpoena bank records, credit applications, IP addresses. If the evidence is solid, and from what you've told me, it is, the prosecutor will file charges. That takes about 4 to 6 weeks. And the civil suit. We file that separately. Discovery phase, depositions, mediation attempt, then trial if needed. Cost for you, 0. You qualify for Connecticut legal aid. I'll represent you pro bono." "Why?" He smiled sadly. "Because I had a client 3 years ago, 22 years old, found out her parents had opened 14 credit cards in her name over 8 years. She didn't press charges, tried to pay it all off herself. She declared bankruptcy at 24. He shook his head. "You're doing the right thing. You're protecting your future." I took a breath. "Let's do it, both criminal and civil." Sanjay nodded. "Then let's build your case." Over the next 3 weeks, my life became a filing system. I bought a 3-ring binder, royal blue, 2 inches thick, and labeled it in black Sharpie, Chen v. Chen Evidence. Inside, I built a paper trail that would destroy my mother. Section 1, Financial Evidence. Capital 1 Statements, 8 pages showing every charge from May 1018. Kleinfeld Bridal, $4,200. Plaza Hotel, $2,800. Photography Studio, $1,412.67. Each one highlighted in yellow, cross-referenced with dates. Chase Statements, 12 pages. Vera Wang, $5,600. Tiffany Ring Resizing, $890. Hamptons Inn Deposit, $3,200. Delancey Catering, $3,110. Credit reports from all 3 bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. Each one showing the hard inquiries, the score drop from 680 to 625, the utilization spike. Bank records from my checking account showing my actual income. $35,247 last year from internships, work study, tutoring. The number Mom had used on the fraudulent applications because she'd had access to my tax returns. Section 2, Communication Evidence. Text messages between Mom and me, printed and dated. May 14th, 7:32 p.m. Mom, getting everything ready for tomorrow. So proud of you, Nora, you've worked so hard. Below it, the Chase charge timestamp, May 14th, 7:18 p.m., Plaza Hotel deposit, $2,800. She texted me 14 minutes after charging my card. May 18th, 11:47 a.m. Mom, so sorry we missed it, honey. Something came up with Lily, you understand, right? Below it, the Venmo, $25. Instagram posts, screenshots with timestamps. Mom's post from May 10th at 3:47 p.m. found the dress for our girls' engagement party. Dreams do come true, 2 sparkles. The Vera Wang charge, May 10th, 3:52 p.m. 5 minutes between posting the dress and buying it with my stolen credit. Section 3, Timeline Documentation. A spreadsheet, color-coded, cross-referenced, obsessively detailed. Column A, date. Column B, fraud attempt or charge. Column C, my location activity. Column D, Mom's communication with me. Column E, evidence file reference. January 15th. Amex application, denied. I called Mom crying about lost internship. She comforted me via phone/page 14, credit report inquiry. February 2nd. Discover application, denied/family dinner at their house. Mom asked about my thesis. Seemed interested/page 16, credit report inquiry. April 3rd. Chase Freedom application, denied. Taking econometrics final, no communication/page 18, credit report. Inquiry. May 10th, 18th. 8 days of charges totaling $21,212.67/finals week. Graduation prep/multiple supportive texts from Mom/pages 112, statements. The pattern was damning. Every fraud attempt aligned with a moment of false intimacy. Section 4, Legal Documentation. Police report, case 2020-58841. Detective Maria Torres had interviewed me for 90 minutes, recorded everything, taken copies of all my evidence. Her notes in the margin, clear premeditation. Suspect had multiple opportunities to stop. Fraud affidavits from Capital One and Chase, notarized and signed. Attorney Sanjay Kapoor's client intake form and representation agreement. A draft of the civil complaint, Chen v. Chen, Superior Court of Connecticut. Section 5, Witness Statements. Priya wrote hers first. I witnessed Nora's discovery of the fraud on May 22nd. She was in shock, shaking, unable to process that her mother had stolen her identity. The emotional impact was severe and immediate. My Yale roommate from sophomore year, Jordan, wrote next. Nora worked constantly. I rarely saw her without a textbook or on her way to a shift. She talked often about her student loans and the pressure to make payments. Meanwhile, she mentioned her sister's fully funded lifestyle. The disparity was obvious and painful for her. Aunt Linda, Dad's sister, who'd always been the black sheep, wrote the most damaging statement. Susan and Robert have always favored Lily. I've witnessed it at family gatherings for 22 years. They openly discussed investing in Lily's future while describing Nora as self-sufficient. When Nora graduated from Yale, Susan told me they were skipping the ceremony because Lily needed them more. This fraud is consistent with decades of financial and emotional favoritism. I hadn't expected Aunt Linda's support. She called the day after I filed the police report. I heard what Susan did, she'd said, voice tight with anger. I've been waiting 20 years for someone to call out their favoritism. I'm testifying for you. My support system, I realized, had been there all along. I'd just been too busy surviving to see it. Section 6, Comparative Evidence. This section hurt the most to compile. Lily's Instagram posts over 4 years, sorority events, study abroad in Paris, spring break in Cabo, Her graduation photos, family surrounding her, champagne in hand, dad's arm around her shoulders. My Instagram over the same period, library study sessions, campus job badges, ramen dinner jokes, my graduation photo, solo, holding a diploma, 4 empty chairs behind me. Bank records I'd subpoenaed through Sanjay showing transfers to Lily's account, $150,000 over 4 years. Tuition, housing, sorority dues, study abroad, everything. Transfers to my account, $0. The math was simple, brutal, undeniable. By the end of week 3, Detective Torres called. "We've got the IP addresses from the credit card applications," she said. "All submitted from your parents' home internet, your mother's laptop. She didn't even try to hide it." "What happens now?" "I'm forwarding the case to the prosecutor's office. They'll review and decide on charges. Based on what I'm seeing, this is a solid felony identity theft case. Open and shut." Open and shut. My mother's freedom reduced to a legal cliché. How long until charges are filed? 4 to 6 weeks, maybe sooner. The evidence is strong. I hung up, sat with my blue binder in my lap. Inside it was everything. The fraud, the favoritism, the lies, the theft. 22 years of being less than, distilled into 147 pages of documentation. Priya found me on the couch an hour later. "You okay?" "I think I'm ready," I said, "for whatever comes next." She sat beside me. "What comes next?" I thought about Lily's engagement party, August 12th, 3 weeks away. All those people, all those witnesses, the perfect venue to expose everything. "I'm going to the engagement party," I said slowly. Priya's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" "They spent $21,000 of my money on that party. I should at least show up." "Nora." "I'm bringing the binder," I continued. "And I'm bringing the truth. Every person who eats catered food paid for with my stolen credit should know exactly whose credit card funded their shrimp cocktail." Priya was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled. "I'm coming with you." "You don't have to." "I'm your witness, and someone needs to record this." She held up her phone. "For evidence purposes, obviously." For evidence purposes. And for the moment, my parents realized that stealing from the self-sufficient daughter had consequences. I circled August 12th on my calendar in red marker. Lily's engagement party. The plaza-adjacent venue in Greenwich. 180 guests, Dad's law firm partners, Mom's book club, extended family, Lily's sorority sisters, the fiancé's wealthy relatives. Every single person invited with embossed stationery paid for, with my stolen credit card. "You're sure about TH?" "Is?" Priya asked for the 3rd time that week. We sat in our apartment, the blue evidence binder open between us. 147 pages of documentation, 6 months of fraud attempts, 8 days of successful theft, 22 years of favoritism. "I'm sure," I said. "They wanted a party, they'll get one." Sanjay had called 2 days earlier. "The prosecutor's filing charges next week. Identity theft, credit card fraud, 2 Class D felonies. Your mother will be arraigned within 10 days. 10 days, right around the time of the engagement party. Perfect timing. I'd spent a week rehearsing my speech, writing it, rewriting it, memorizing it. Priya had listened to 14 different versions. "You need to start with the dollar amount," she'd advised. "Make it concrete. $21,212.67. People remember specific numbers." I practiced in front of the mirror. Practiced my posture, my voice, my breathing. Practiced holding the evidence folder without shaking. "What if they kick you out?" Priya asked. "Then they kick me out, but not before 180 people hear the truth." "What if your dad tries to silence you? He's a lawyer, he'll know this could be used against your mom in court." "Good, let him try." I closed the binder. "I want him to incriminate himself in front of witnesses." Priya pulled out her phone. "I'll record everything. Video and audio. We'll have evidence of their reactions, their excuses, their attempts to cover it up." "You don't have to come." "Yes, I do." She met my eyes. "Someone needs to witness this. Someone who isn't family. Someone who can testify later if needed." I'd bought a dress for the occasion, black, structured, expensive. $180 from Nordstrom, paid for with money from my Google internship. Not stolen, not fraudulent, earned. Armor. The invitation sat on my desk, addressed to Ms. Nora Chen. Cream cardstock, gold lettering, elegant script. You are cordially invited to celebrate the engagement of Lily Marie Chen and Christopher Vanderbilt III. Saturday, August 12th, 6:00 p.m. The estate at Greenwich Harbor. Cocktail attire. I'd RSVP'd yes 2 weeks ago. Mom had seemed surprised. You're coming, she'd asked on the phone, after everything. After everything, as if she was the victim. Of course I'm coming, ID said sweetly. I wouldn't miss it. She'd actually sounded relieved. That means so much to Lily, to all of us. I'd wanted to scream. Instead, I'd said, I've been preparing for this for weeks. True statement, just not in the way she thought. The day before the party, Detective Tours called with an update. Charges are being filed tomorrow morning. Your mother will be served with an arraignment notice by Monday. I wanted to give you a heads up. Thank you. Nora, whatever you're planning, be careful. Confronting someone who's about to face felony charges can be volatile. I'll be careful. I hung up, looked at the dress hanging on my closet door, the evidence binder on my desk, the speech memorized in my head. Tomorrow night, 180 people would gather to celebrate an engagement paid for with my stolen identity. And I was going to make sure every single one of them knew exactly whose credit card funded the champagne they'd be drinking. The days leading up to August 12th felt like waiting for a detonation I'd built myself. Mom texted on August 10th, so excited you're coming tomorrow. Lily S. been asking about you. Can you get there by 5:45 for family photos? Family photos, the audacity was almost impressive. I responded, I'll be there at 6:00. She sent back a heart emoji. On August 11th, Lily called. Nora, I just wanted to say thank you for coming. I know things have been weird between us since graduation. Weird, that was her word for identity theft. I'll be there, I said. Are you okay? You sound different. I'm fine, really good actually. Good, that's good. A pause. Mom's really happy you're coming. She's been stressed about everything. I bet she had. Her daughter's engagement party, funded by felony fraud, criminal charges being filed in 3 days, and the victim would be standing in the same room as 180 witnesses. I'm sure it'll be a memorable night, I said. After I hung up, Priya looked up from her laptop. You're enjoying this. I'm not enjoying anything. I'm preparing. You smiled when you said memorable night. Maybe I had. The morning of August 12th arrived with perfect weather, 78 degrees, clear skies, golden afternoon light. The kind of day wedding photographers dream about. I spent 2 hours getting ready. Showered, dried my hair straight, applied makeup with precision, slipped into the black dress, zipped it myself, no help needed. I looked in the mirror and saw someone I barely recognized, stronger, sharper, done apologizing for existing. Priya knocked on my bedroom door at 4:30. You ready? Almost. I picked up the blue evidence binder, slid it into a black leather portfolio that looked professional, elegant, indistinguishable from a gift or a card. Speech memorized, Priya asked. Yes. Phone charged. Yes. Escape route planned. I smiled grimly. Yes. We drove to Greenwich in Priya's Honda. 42 minutes of silence, me reviewing the speech in my head, Priya navigating. The estate at Greenwich Harbor was exactly what I'd expected. Manicured lawns, white tent, string lights already glowing in the pre-sunset light. Valets in the driveway. A string quartet playing near the entrance. $2,800 for the venue deposit, charged to my Chase Sapphire card on May 13th. We parked and walked toward the tent. Other guests were arriving, women in cocktail dresses, men in blazers, everyone holding wrapped gifts and wine bottles. Gifts for an engagement funded by fraud. You still want to do this, Priya whispered. Yes. At the entrance, a woman with a clipboard checked names. Nora Chen, +1, welcome, the families inside near the gift table. Of course they were. The tent was beautiful, I had to admit that. White fabric draped from the ceiling, chandeliers hanging, round tables with gold chargers and rose centerpieces. A bar in the corner already serving champagne. The catering setup in the back, Delancey Catering, $3,110, charged May 15th. Over 150 people were already inside. I did a mental count. Closer to 180, actually. Perfect. I spotted my parents near the front, Dad in a gray suit, Mom in pale blue, both smiling and greeting guests. Lily and her fiancé stood beside them, radiant, accepting congratulations. They hadn't seen me yet. I walked to a table in the middle of the tent. Not too close, not too far, positioned where everyone could see me when I stood. Priya sat beside me, phone already out, camera ready. 10 minutes until the toasts start, she murmured. Good. A waiter brought champagne flutes to our table. Veuve Clicquot, $85 a bottle. I didn't touch mine. Mom spotted me across the tent, her face lit up, she waved. I waved back. She had no idea what was coming. None of them did. The room buzzed with conversation, laughter, clinking glasses, congratulations, joy. A celebration built on a foundation of stolen credit and felony fraud. At 6:47 p.m., the best man clinked his glass. If I could have everyone's attention, we'd like to start the toasts. The room quieted. I stood up. The room goes quiet when I stand. 182 people turned to look at me. I counted on the way in. I have something to say, I announce. My voice carries across the tent, steady and clear. Before the toasts begin, there's something everyone here should know. Mom's smile freezes. Nora, honey, this isn't the time. This is exactly the time. I open the leather portfolio. Pull out the first document, Capital One statement, 8 pages stapled, highlighted in yellow. This is a credit card statement. Capital One Venture Rewards Card, opened May 18th in my name. Current balance, $8,412.67. The silence deepens. Dad starts moving toward me. I hold up the second document. Chase Sapphire Reserve, opened May 10th. Current balance, $12,800. Total fraudulent debt opened in my name, $21,212.67. Nora, stop this right now. Dad's voice is sharp, lawyer mode activated. These cards were opened by my mother. She forged my signature, used my social security number, and charged $21,000, all to pay for this party. Gasps ripple through the crowd. I walk toward the center of the tent, holding up the statements so people at nearby tables can see them. Kleinfeld Bridal, $4,200 for Lily's dress. The Vera Wang Boutique, $5,600. This venue, $2,800 deposit. The photographer you're all smiling for $1,412. Lily's face drains white. What are you talking about? I'm talking about identity theft. I turn to face my parents directly. For 6 months, Mom attempted to open credit cards in my name. American Express in January, denied. Discover in February, denied. Chase Freedom in April, denied. She kept trying until 2 cards finally approved me in May. Mom's mouth opens, closes. I was going to pay you back. You were going to pay me back? My voice rises. You gave Lily $150,000 for Yale. You paid every semester, every textbook, every sorority due. You gave me nothing. You told me to figure it out myself. People are pulling out phones. Some recording, some texting, some just staring. I figured it out, I continue. I took $127,000 in student loans. I worked 3 jobs. I became in RA for free housing. I graduated W. With a 3.87 GPA while working 35 hours a week. And on graduation day, you remember graduation day. Silence, Mom's eyes are filling with tears. You weren't there. Row 7, right side, 4 seats reserved for the Chen family. Empty, because you were at Kleinfeld buying a dress with my stolen credit card. I don't remember walking out of that tent. Priya told me later that I'd finished my speech, placed the evidence binder on the gift table, and walked straight to the car. 87 people were recording on their phones. By midnight, texts flooded my phone. Aunt Linda, I'm so proud of you. That took incredible courage. Cousin Zoe, everyone's talking about it. Mom's book club expelled her. Unknown number, you destroyed your family for attention. You're disgusting. I blocked 17 numbers that night. Mom called 43 times. I didn't answer. Dad sent one text at 2:17 a.m. You've made a terrible mistake. My lawyer will be in touch. Sanjay called Sunday morning. I heard what happened. How are you holding? Okay, I think. Good, because the prosecutor's filing charges tomorrow. Your mother's being arraigned Wednesday morning. This just got very real. It already felt real. By Monday evening, Detective Torres called with news. Formal charges filed. 2 counts identity theft, 2 counts credit card fraud. Arraignment set for Wednesday, 9 a.m., Hartford Superior Court. I exhaled. It was happening. Mom's arraignment happened on a Wednesday morning in August, in a Hartford courtroom that smelled like industrial cleaner and broken families. I sat in the gallery with Sanjay and Priya. Mom entered in a navy pantsuit, her lawyer, some partner from Dad's firm, whispering urgently in her ear. She saw me, her face crumpled. The judge read the charges. Susan Nora Chen, you are charged with 2 counts of identity theft under Connecticut Statute 53A129A, Class D felonies, and 2 counts of credit card fraud. How do you plead? Her lawyer stood, not guilty, Your Honor. Not guilty. I'd expected it, but hearing it still felt like a slap. Bail was set at $10,000. Dad paid it within an hour. Over the next 4 months, I watched the legal system move with agonizing slowness. September, discovery phase. Sanjay submitted our evidence, bank statements, credit applications, IP address records, Instagram posts timestamped with charges, my graduation day texts cross-referenced with fraud activity. Mom's lawyer responded with a motion to dismiss, claiming family miscommunication and intent to repay. The judge denied it. The evidence was too clear. October, depositions. I sat across from Mom's lawyer for 3 hours while he tried to paint me as vindictive, ungrateful, exaggerating. Isn't it true your parents paid for your childhood expenses? He asked. Yes. Fed you, clothed you, housed you. Yes. So they invested in you, just differently than your sister. They gave her $150,000 for college and stole $21,000 from me. That's not differently. That's fraud and favoritism. He had no response to that. November, the prosecutor offered a plea deal. Guilty plea to 1 count identity theft, 1 count fraud. Sentence, 2 years probation, full restitution of $28,500, fraudulent charges plus damages, 200 hours community service, felony conviction on permanent record. Mom rejected it. She wants a trial, Sanjay told me. She thinks a jury will sympathize with a mother who was just trying to help her daughters. Let her try, I said. December, pre-trial motions. Mom's lawyer argued for suppression of the Instagram evidence, claiming invasion of privacy. Judge denied it. Social media posts are public information. Then, 3 days before Christmas, Mom's lawyer called Sanjay. She wants to take the deal. The plea hearing happened on January 7th. Mom stood before the judge, her voice barely audible. Guilty. The judge didn't show mercy. Ms. Chen, you committed felony fraud against your own daughter. You forged her identity not once, but repeatedly over 6 months. You used her credit to fund a party while she worked multiple jobs to survive. This represents a fundamental betrayal of parental duty. 2 years probation. Full restitution of $28,500, paid in monthly installments beginning next month. 200 hours community service at a financial literacy nonprofit. Perhaps you'll learn something about fiscal responsibility. Permanent felony conviction. The gavel fell. Mom started crying. I felt nothing, just a vast, empty relief. One more thing, the judge added. I'm granting the plaintiff's request for a 3-year no-contact order. You are not to contact, communicate with, or approach Nora Chen in any way. Violation will result in arrest. 3 years of guaranteed silence. I walked out of that courtroom lighter than I'd felt in months. The fracture happened exactly as I'd expected. Team Nora, Aunt Linda, Uncle Marcus, cousin. Zoe, maternal grandmother Dorothy, who told Mom she was ashamed. 3 cousins I'd barely known who reached out after the engagement party exposure. Team Susan, Dad unwavering loyalty, even after the conviction, Uncle Tom, Mom's sister Aunt Karen, paternal grandparents, 2 family friends who believed Mom's version. Switzerland, 6 relatives who sent polite, useless texts like, "We love you both," and invited neither of us to holidays. Lily fell into a complicated middle ground. She decalled once, 3 weeks after the plea deal. "I didn't know it was that bad," she'd said. "I swear, Nora, I didn't know about the fraud attempts in January and February." "But you knew something was wrong. You knew they paid your full tuition and left me with loans." Silence. "You benefited from the fraud, Lily. Whether you knew the details or not, you wore that dress. You had that party. You never asked questions because you didn't want to know the answers." "That's not fair." "Neither is $21,000 in stolen credit." We hadn't spoken since. Her wedding, scheduled for June, was downsized dramatically. The budget Dad had promised evaporated after paying Mom's legal fees and restitution. 60 guests instead of 200. A small venue instead of the plaza equivalent. Lily's Instagram posts about it were notably bitter. "I wasn't invited. I wouldn't have gone anyway." Mom's felony conviction became public record. Background checks would flag it forever. Her hospital administrator job, she resigned before they could fire her. "Medical facilities can't employ felons with fraud convictions," Aunt Linda explained. "Liability issues." She got a job at a retail store. Part-time, $14 an hour. She made $89,000 as an administrator. Dad's law firm, they asked him to retire early after the conviction. "Ethical concerns about a partner whose wife is a convicted fraudster," the managing partner had said. Dad was 54. He'd planned to work until 65. He took a job at a small firm in Stamford, half his previous salary. Their social circle? Decimated. Mom's book club had expelled her the night of the engagement party. The country club hadn't renewed their membership, at their request, officially, but everyone knew they'd been pressured to leave. Their Christmas card list went from 80 families to 12. I watched it all from a distance, updates filtered through Aunt Linda, and I felt nothing but the cold satisfaction of consequences. Priya asked me once, "Do you feel guilty?" No. Not even a little. She stole from me. She missed my graduation to spend my money on my sister. She committed 6 months of fraud and got caught. I didn't do this to her. She did this to herself. And I meant it. The family I'd lost wasn't the family I'd needed anyway. The family I'd gained, Aunt Linda, Zoe, Priya, Sanjay, who'd become a mentor, actually showed up for me. On my first Thanksgiving without my parents, Aunt Linda hosted. 15 people around her table, including me. "To chosen family," she'd toasted, "biology is random, loyalty is earned." I drunk to that. 3 years later, I'm sitting in my Seattle apartment. 1 bedroom, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Puget Sound. A lease I signed with a 712 credit score. From 625 to 712 in 3 years. It took aggressive debt payoff, perfect payment history, and time, but I did it. The fraudulent debt is gone. Capital One and Chase classified it as fraud after Mom's conviction, $21,212. 67 erased from my credit report like it never existed. Mom's restitution payments covered the interest I'd accumulated and compensated me for the credit damage. I've received $28,500 over 36 months. Every payment felt like justice in $791.67 increments. My student loans, down from $127,000 to $73,000. I'm 25. I'll have them paid off by 30 with my current salary. Speaking of salary, I'm a software engineer at Google. $156,000 base, plus $45,000 in stock, plus $25,000 signing bonus. Total compensation, $226,000. I got promoted to senior SWE II last month, the youngest in my cohort. My manager said I had uncommon resilience and work ethic. If she only knew. I've filed 2 patents, Machine learning algorithms for fraud detection, ironically. The patent office sent the confirmation letters to my apartment. I framed one. Last April, I gave a TEDx talk at Yale. Title: Financial Abuse in Families When Parents Become Predators. 43 minutes. 340,000 views on YouTube. Comments from people who'd lived versions of my story, parents who'd stolen their credit, emptied their savings, forged their signatures. You gave me the courage to press charges against my dad, one comment read. Thank you for speaking up. That made every painful moment worth it. My relationship with Aunt Linda has become the mother-daughter bond I'd always wanted. We talk every Sunday. She visited Seattle twice, stayed a week each time, met my friends, toured my office. Your mother's an idiot, she'd said over coffee on the waterfront. She had 2 brilliant daughters and she chose to destroy one. I'll never understand it. Neither will I. Cousin Zoe is at Yale now, junior year, studying economics like me. I pay half her tuition, $23,000 per year. She tried to refuse. Nora, you don't have to. I want to. No one should graduate with 6 figures of debt if someone can help. I'm breaking the cycle. She cried, I did too. Priya and I are still roommates, though she's moving out next month, she's getting married. I'm her maid of honor. She asked me a year ago, you're the person who stood beside me when everything fell apart. I want you beside me when everything comes together. I'm dating someone, Marcus. We met through work, he's a product manager, kind and steady and completely unimpressed by family drama. When I told him my story on our 4th date, he'd said, your mom sounds like a criminal. I'm glad you pressed charges. No excuses, no, but she's your mother, just validation. We've been together 14 months. It's healthy, I'm learning what that feels like. Therapy has been essential. Weekly sessions for 2 years, now monthly. My therapist helped me process the betrayal, the grief, the anger that comes in waves even now. You're allowed to miss them, she'd said once. I don't miss them, I miss the parents I thought I had. That's a kind of grief too. She's right, some days are harder than others. Mother's Day, my birthday. Moments when I achieve something and instinctively want to call them before remembering. But mostly I'm okay, better than okay. I have a support group, Surviving Family Fraud, 8 people who meet Thursday nights. We share stories, advice, legal strategies. Half have pressed charges against family members. All of us are rebuilding. To us, one member toasted at our anniversary dinner. The ones who chose justice over silence. We're the survivors who refuse to stay victims. Mom and I haven't spoken in 3 years. The no-contact order expired 6 months ago. She hasn't tried to reach out. Aunt Linda says she's still working retail, still bitter, still insisting she was trying to help. No accountability, no apology, no change. I've made peace with that. She's not capable of the reflection or remorse I'd need to consider reconciliation. Dad sends an email every few months. Subject line, checking in. I delete them unread. Lily got married. I saw photos on someone's Facebook, small ceremony, nice but nothing extravagant. She wore a dress that cost $1,200 instead of $5,600. She looked happy. I hope she is, I genuinely do. But we're not sisters anymore. We're strangers who share DNA and a history of inequity she never challenged. That's okay, not all family relationships survive, not all of them should. The family I've built, Aunt Linda, Zoe, Priya, Marcus, my support group, my friends, is enough. More than enough. 3 years ago, I stood in a tent in front of 182 people and exposed a fraud that had been bleeding me for months. Today, I stand in my apartment overlooking the water, financially stable, professionally successful, emotionally healing. They told me to figure it out myself. I did. I figured out that family isn't who shares your blood, it's who shows up for you. I figured out that justice is possible, even against your own parents. I figured out that choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. And I figured out that the girl who walked across a Yale stage to 4 empty chairs is stronger than anyone, including her, ever knew. If you're facing financial abuse from family, credit fraud, stolen savings, forged documents, know this, you're not overreacting. You're not destroying the family. You're protecting yourself from people who chose to harm you. Document everything. File the police report. Press charges if needed. Your credit, your future, your peace, they're worth fighting for. To everyone who's been told to figure it out yourself while watching siblings get handed everything, your resilience is your superpower. The independence forced on you becomes strength when you own it. You're not less than, you're not forgot, you're not alone. This is Achiever Betrayed, where we tell the stories of those who succeeded despite betrayal, not because of support. If this story resonated with you, you're part of a community that understands. Thank you for listening. And remember, choosing yourself is never the wrong choice.